should the Giants' expectations for their season change now as a result of what we saw from Daniel Jones?
Slow down, Giants fans. Okay, your expectations should not change. Your excitement level should. The reality is this is still a very bad football team. First of all, there's no Saquon Barkley for likely the next month to 2 months, right? The most electrifying or one of the best players in all of football. Not only to have that weapon around him not being there, but also relying on a consistent run game. And then this defense, Daniel Jones isn't going to play corner. He's not going to play safety and do it at the level he played quarterback on Sunday. So this is still a very poor football team. And so, yes, the excitement level for Daniel Jones and what he did Sunday and what this fan base now has to look forward to for the next 13 Sundays at the quarterback spot, that should be completely elevated. The expectation level, no, you are still a bad football team.
Let's talk about the expectation in him, because as Ryan Clark gave us a big presentation earlier this morning on Daniel Jones, and you were justifiably taking your victory lap because you called this several weeks ago. What are your expectations for him? What do you expect him to do as the season goes on?
I expect him to continue to play well. I expect him to continue to show some of the things that we saw this weekend from Daniel Jones. I don't expect every weekend to look like this. He's not going to be this successful. There will be bumps in the road, as there is for all quarterbacks, not just young quarterbacks. But I disagree with Dan when he says that their expectations should not change. When you watch the first 2 weeks, when you saw the Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills, your expectation was you were not competing. This team is going to compete in games, which they weren't with Eli Manning. And that's an expectation you have to have as an NFL franchise that they now do with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they should be very excited about Daniel Jones. Many of us were wrong about Daniel Jones, and it's fine that they take their victory lap. But I think it's fair to point out that they didn't necessarily believe in him that much either, considering the way that they built this team around him. Considering that they paid Eli Manning north of $17 million to come back. So let's not pretend like they knew that this was a guy that they could build their team around.
No, there have been endless inconsistencies in the way they've gone about running their organization the last few years, and certainly going into this year, which is the reason I don't want to say what I'm about to say, which is it might have made a lot of sense to sit him the first 2 weeks against those really good defenses and then bring him in against one that you think is worse, and which begs the question, if Saquon Barkley got hurt the week before, I wonder if they would have made this swing.
That's a very interesting question. I think Saquon Barkley getting hurt is probably for the best, because you need to preserve Saquon Barkley because there's only so many hits a running back can take. Having Saquon a few weeks off would be better off.
Go ahead, Danny.
RC. So, yeah, they play Washington this next week, but then they play New England. They play Minnesota. They play the Lions, who has a very good secondary. You mean to tell me your expectations now, without Saquon Barkley in that defense, that they're going to go into those games and you're going to have an expectation that they'll have a chance to win that football game strictly because of the quarterback?
This is what happens, Dan. Quarterbacks don't listen. I didn't say that they're going to have an expectation to win. What I'm saying is for 2 weeks, you were not competitive. This team can now be competitive from an offensive standpoint when they had no expectations of doing that with Eli Manning at quarterback. There's a lot of teams who are going to play the Patriots and do not have the expectations of winning. It's going to be like 14 of them. But what I'm saying is Daniel Jones gives this offense an opportunity to do different things that Eli Manning couldn't with the way that it's constructed.
I think there's an excitement in that. I think there's an excitement in that, but I don't believe that there's this expectation that, maybe we're not as bad of a football team 1 through 53 as we were. They are still
Dan, I
depleted.
can change the conversation and make it work any kind of way I want to. Yeah, I can say there's no expectations they're going to win now. I mean, of course, but you can't keep switching it up on me.
No, you're the one who is saying the expectations are now that they're going to go into every Sunday and be competitive. And I'm telling you, that defense and that lack of personnel, Everyone, thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, more analysis, download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+. We'll see you there.